Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Let me first of all recognize the presence of His Excellency Charles Savary and Mrs. Savary. My dear colleague, Honourable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, our Minister for Health and the Environment, Honourable Francine Barron, the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Honourable Ruben Blackmore, the Minister for Justice, Immigration and National Security, my other cabinet colleagues, Captain Hancock, the Mission Commander of the USNS Comfort, and the other personnel and team members of the USNS Comfort. Our dear Monsignor Eustace Thomas, Ambassador Steve Farrell, the Secretary to the Cabinet, Permanent Secretaries, Heads of Departments, officials and staff of partnering ministries, corps managers, officials and staff of the Ministry of Health and the Environment, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Before I continue, I want to state on public record the government's gratitude to Ambassador Palmer, who is not here for us this morning, but who brought word from the US government to indicate whether we would accept the presence of the USNS Comfort here in Dominica. And my response to him was a resounding yes, but I asked whether it could dock for at least 3 years. But when he indicated to me it has other missions, I say, okay, well, we will take the 9 days or the 10 days that you're giving us. But on behalf of the government and people of Dominica, I take great pleasure in welcoming the USNS Comfort and its complement of volunteer medical professionals to our country. I am informed that the USNS Comfort is a seagoing medical treatment facility with the primary mission of providing acute health service support to U.S. military units deployed ashore, naval, amphibious, task, and battle forces afloat. So I have no doubt you'll be very happy to be in a very peaceful environment as opposed to the Port of Eden in the Yemen Sea. Your mission, your secondary mission, I'm told, and the one that has brought you to our shores, is to provide mobile surgical hospital service and acute medical care in disaster or humanitarian relief. We are grateful that the humanitarian eye has fallen on Dominica. Though we are a small country with limited resources, our people demand the delivery of a quality health care that is second to none in the world. As is to be expected, this puts tremendous pressure on the resources of the state when nationals turn to government seeking support to undergo medical procedures that are not available locally. Therefore, your presence and activities here over the next 9 days, delivering urgently needed healthcare services to Dominicans, is for us not only an appreciated humanitarian gesture, but also an initiative that will help ease the pressure on our treasury. I note that as of yesterday, various teams from the Comfort were deployed at 2 sites, namely the Dominica Grammar School and the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School in Portsmouth. I trust that all the arrangements for your reception were satisfactory and that in many respects they exceeded your expectations. The United States of America and the Commonwealth of Dominica have had a long and unbroken friendship anchored in mutual respect and in respect for the democratic traditions that our respective countries and people and institutions are sworn to uphold. Your presence here attests to that friendship. It also builds on the assistance we have been obtaining from the United States in strengthening the security of our borders and national and regional security. It is my wish that the health volunteers in your team will form firm and lasting friendships with many of our own professionals with whom they will be collaborating during this mission. The Ministry of Health has informed us that the Comfort personnel will see some 600 patients per day at its site. That is 1,200 people per day. Should you reach this target, then over 9 days, some 10,800 patients would have been seen. This represents over 50% of our Dominica population. If this turns out to be so, then we will understand the magnitude of the challenge we face in providing access to affordable, quality healthcare to our citizens. This situation would have been akin to that faced by the current US administration. President Obama was able to respond to this situation by introducing the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which has been called by many to be the Obama Care. This initiative, I understand, has been welcomed by many Americans who, for various reasons, had no health insurance. Here in Dominica, government is pursuing the quest of health security for Dominicans with the assistance of the Pan American Health Organization. We hope to devise a model of financing healthcare that is realistic and at the same time responsive to our peculiar circumstances as a small island with a population less than 100,000. I should tell you that the upgrading and management of healthcare is a top priority of this government. This site on which we are now meeting, the site of our main referral hospital in the island, was constructed almost 60 years ago. Advances in healthcare delivery and management and the expectations of citizens demand that we take this hospital to the next level of development. We will therefore soon be breaking ground for the construction of a new modern hospital right here on this site. We are going to be faced with the challenge of constructing the new hospital while continuing to deliver normal services to patients. However, we're informed by the experts that it is doable, though with some inconvenience. We truly appreciate that you chose Dominica as one of the host countries for this mission of the USNS Comfort. I am also comforted and wish to applaud you for including Haiti, a sister CARICOM country, as one of the 10 other countries you will call on us to render this noble humanitarian service. We have a sizable Haitian migrant population here, and I am sure they would like me to thank you for the badly needed services you'll be rendering to their relatives and friends in Haiti. I have been informed that this mission will also provide other humanitarian support and training in various fields and exchange of information with special groups. It is my hope that training of these personnel will complement the work already done in the areas and improve the service delivery to our population. I wish to express my personal thanks to the permanent secretaries and staff of the 3 partnering ministries for their commitment and relentless efforts in preparing for this mission. Before I end, I once again want to express profound gratitude and thanks to this mission of the USNS Comfort and its team of health volunteers. I want to say to the population, as I've expressed on numerous occasions publicly, that I am extremely concerned about the high incidence of CNCDs in our country and indeed in the region. And it is important for each one of us to take responsibility for our health care. Just too many of us are engaging in lifestyles that are not, that are placing us in harm's way. And the cost, the sheer cost of treatment, small countries like ours will have great difficulty in providing the optimal care to those suffering from CNCDs. And where I sit as Prime Minister of the country and the huge sums we have to expend to provide the services to our citizens out of the country is something that we have to look at seriously. And I'm hoping that with our move towards some kind of national health insurance scheme, that this will sort of address the financial aspect of it, but it will not address our lifestyles and our choices that we make. It is left to us as citizens to do that. Government will pass laws, government will have impositions, but at the end of the day, we as individuals must take action and take responsibility. It will be remiss of me not to mention about the prohibitive cost, not only in Dominica, but globally, of medical interventions. You know, it is a global phenomenon where people who need the kind of medical interventions do not have the resources, the financial resources, and there are just too many people in this country and the world that are at the homes, not able to come forth with the resources, and are languishing in pain and suffering until death visits them. So I think we have to look at this not only from our own individual perspective, because there are some of us who may have health insurance, but what about so many of our neighbors and friends who do not have the resources to engage a health insurance scheme? So I really want to, and of course the attitudes of all of us in the system. I always tell people, you have to treat people the way that you like to be treated if you were in their circumstance. And you know, when we're all Christians, I hope, I am a Christian, so read the Bibles and so on, that what you do is what you will reap. And therefore we have to demonstrate a greater sense of caring and love and affection and concern to those who are suffering. Because a simple smile to a patient, a simple smile to somebody who is suffering can make a huge difference. But if you look angry, it's going to cause the person to be anxious. And you know, if health difficulties, if you're anxious, then you become even more sick. So while we welcome our friends from the United States, and I want to thank the United States government profusely for its continued efforts in assisting our country. And I recall as a young boy growing up in the 80s, the US Army Corps of Engineers was always present in Dominica, engaging in various projects and programs across the length of Dominica, and we all welcome this. So we'd like to welcome you to Dominica, Mr. Hancock, and your team, and to say that we greatly appreciate the efforts of the United States government, who itself has all its challenges, but who continues to make efforts in assisting many parts of the world, particularly in the maintenance of peace and security. I pray that God will continue to bless the United States of America as it continues to bless our country, Dominica. I thank you. Have a good day.